Hi, welcome to Encouragement for Today. I'm Pastor Emily. So, we just started a new small group study as a church. Small groups are meeting on Wednesday and Thursday evenings. And leading up to Easter, we're looking at Jesus' farewell message to the disciples. We're looking at John chapters 13 through 17, if you want to follow along. And this first week, we focused on John 13. In these chapters, we're going to see what Jesus really wants his disciples to hear before he leaves them. We last night were at the Last Supper that Jesus shares with the disciples. And in John's version, they don't just share a meal together. Jesus, he gets down on his knees and he washes each one of the disciples' feet. This was something that sounds foreign to our culture because we don't typically wash feet when we come to a home, but in Jesus' time it was something that typically happened as you entered a home. Think about the dirt roads they walked on and possibly the sandals they were walking in. To have a cleansing of their feet was typical. But Jesus, for whatever reason, he gets up at a certain point and he kneels down and chooses to be the one who washes their feet. And this is a gesture of humility. This is a gesture of servitude. And it doesn't go over well with all the disciples. Peter, one of the most enthusiastic disciples, he says, "No, you can't wash my feet." Like, basically, this is a servant's role. This is not the Son of God's role. And Jesus says, "No, you have no part of me if you don't let me wash your feet. You don't understand what I'm doing for you." And then Peter typically gets overly enthusiastic and then is like, "Well, Jesus, wash all of me." And he's like, "Well, that's not necessary either. Like, I'm teaching you something through this gesture." So Jesus, he gets done washing all of the disciples' feet, and he puts his outer clothes back on and returns to his place. He says, "Do you understand what I have done for you?" And he asks this of disciples who have previously argued about who is the greatest among them. They're missing the point. And Jesus goes into, you call me teacher and Lord. And rightly so, because I am. And then he adds, "Now that I, your teacher and Lord, have washed your feet, so you also should wash one another's feet." And he's teaching them the model of love. That it's not just about getting. It's not about trying to be the most important. It's not worrying about what your status is going to be in heaven, what your status is going to be on earth. The true mark of love is being willing to serve another, being willing to humble yourself and really love another. So a question for us today is, how can we treat service as an act of love and worship? Maybe you're somebody who's already serving in many ways, and how can you, in those spaces, treat it as something holy and sacred to, like Jesus, symbolically get down on your knees and wash somebody's feet, to do some of the dirty jobs that we might easily resent when they're opportunities to show deep, deep love and care that's not about us, that's not about our image or status. And Jesus points towards when we can be like that, then that's when we've found life abundant. So how can we serve, and how can we do it from a place of worship and joy? We'll talk to you again soon.